black girls have ugly, they have big noses. That's when it becomes a problem because you are internalizing that racism within yourself.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to DTF podcast. Today we're going to be talking about preferences and racism. So introduce yourself, guys.
Sakani.
Daryl.
Rumbi.
And I'm Dumi. So let's hear from you guys. What do you think about preferences and racism?
Okay, in what context?
What is
Context.
when you say I have
Sure.
preferences? Okay, let's say in terms of dating, like
Okay,
you prefer tall guys. What does that mean?
I'm gonna get myself a tall guy. But I think personally, I get preferences. I just how do I put this? To like it preferences can work in a healthy way of having preferences. They can work in the sense that you have standards, right? So it's just a thing of you choose something because you think highly of it, because you see yourself deserving of this highly thing or deserving of being involved of this thing that you deem high. So if I am to say, this is going to sound bad example. Oh my, okay. Right. DTF, drop the filters.
Yeah.
If I'm to, if I'm to say, I would prefer being with non-African guys, right? And I prefer being with, let's say, Asian guys, right? I have that preference in the sense of I think Asians give me something that an African guy will not give me, or I think they're just somewhere there compared to Africans, right? And I would then go for that or make that my preference based on I deem them higher than Africans, and I look at myself and I'm like, that is what I'm deserving of because I see. I'm not saying that I do. Don't kill me, but but in the sense of because I deem them higher than Africans, and I'm gonna go for that because I think I'm deserving of something good.
No, I get that. But if that's the case, because like everyone has preferences clearly. So if I have a preference, does that deem me like not in the category of racism?
No, I think we have to define what is healthy preference and then what is toxic preference. So, healthy preference is saying, okay, I want somebody who can take care of me. I want somebody who can love me. I want somebody I can talk to. That's healthy preference. Toxic preference is when you say, okay, I want a white chick because she has better hair, she can cook better, or they're more submissive than black women because black women have got attitude and they're more rough. That is toxic preference. I think my issue with preferences is sometimes, especially as black people, we take it too far, way too far, where you have black guys who outright disrespect black women and say, I don't want to date a black woman because she's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is toxic, right? It's literally embarrassing women of your own race just so you can put another woman of another race above your own. I think there's nothing wrong with saying, I want an Asian guy. If that's your taste, go.
Okay.
Date your Asian guy. When it becomes a problem is when you say, okay, I want Asian guys because they're buying all the land in Zimbabwe, they're enslaving our men because our men are weak. Now that's toxic.
So is it toxic or it's racism? So let's say I say I want an Asian guy because I feel he's less controlling than an African guy.
That's not okay. I think that might be toxic because then now you're insinuating that all black guys are controlling when that's not the case. That's not everybody. I think sometimes you get so caught up in like saying black men are this and black men are that. But sometimes it works, in the reverse. So if you're saying, okay, I want an Asian guy because he's nicer, he's more, he listens to me more than a black guy. Black guys do this and three. That's toxic. But if you're saying, okay, I want this guy because he listens to me, he hears me out. That's not toxic because you're speaking on the person himself and not the entire race.
But you just said like if you prefer someone, let's say, right?
Mm.
You say I prefer someone who can listen to me, who can talk to me,
Mm.
who can make me feel special and
Yeah.
things like that, right?
That's
And
okay.
that someone is light skinned. You know?
Yeah.
That's completely okay. We're
How,
not
how
saying,
is it
no,
okay?
no,
Because you're insinuating that all light skins can take care of you
no.
and listen to you.
You see, that's the problem. That's your mindset. If you're assuming that all light skins, if you're saying I want a light skin because she's more compassionate and she's more submissive than a dark skinned girl, that's where it becomes a problem because you're insinuating or assuming that all dark skinned girls won't submit to you when actually in fact there are black girls who will submit to
So
you
so
who are
can
dark
you
skinned.
can you say what is a preference to you? How would you
Okay. A preference
define a
is simply
preference?
describing somebody's characteristics on an individual basis, not comparing them to another race, not comparing them to people of your own culture. It's simply on that individual. So if you're looking for somebody who is caring, who is focused, who can bring in the bread, that's fine. That's a preference. That's okay.
So you're
But when you
saying-
now start saying, I want a white guy because a white guy is richer than a black guy, or I want a black girl, I want a white girl because she's more submissive, she's not as rough as the black girls. Black girls have ugly, they have big noses. That's when it becomes a problem because you are internalizing that, racism within yourself.
So
right?
you're saying prefer the characteristics, don't prefer the person.
No,
But
prefer the
skin
person.
color.
Prefer the person, but
Not the character.
yeah.
So like in
So
a
you
sense,
can't
like,
prefer lighter skin girls.
You can prefer them. There's nothing wrong with preferring.
You can't prefer
So-
them based on
Yeah,
their
yeah.
light. That's what
Right,
she's saying.
right,
You can't prefer
right,
them based on
right.
she's a light skin.
Mm.
You prefer them based on what's her character, what's her personality like, what are her internal characteristics
Yeah.
versus this other person
So
of color.
can we say
Mm.
all girls have toxic preferences when they say they prefer taller guys?
There's nothing wrong with saying I want a tall guy because in the same
How is
breath
that not
you can.
toxic?
yeah,
you-
because
you
like,
are-
like
you
for
are s-
example, like if I want a dark skin girl or a light skin girl,
And that's fine.
that's what I want.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Okay, but
There's
I have
nothing
a
wrong with
question,
that.
because
What-
what
but-
she's
yeah.
saying is
Mm.
don't base wanting a light skinned girl based on a light skinned girl
It's
versus
better, it's better than
yeah,
this.
because
Mm.
of no, like generalizing that you want a light skinned girl because
Light
all
skin
dark skinned
are
girls,
like this.
yeah.
Okay.
But I have a question though,
Mm.
right? Like if I'm to say, okay, let's say Daryl, right, says he doesn't like
Dark skin girls.
black girls
Mhm.
because we, like you said, we're more outspoken, right?
Mhm.
But that's a culture.
That's
Like
the culture.
we
Yeah.
are raised.
Mm.
Most of us
You
are
see,
like
and that's
that.
why it becomes a problem because you are talking badly about your culture. I think for us to understand what
No, but it's
preferences
not bad.
is,
We're not saying it's bad.
Yeah.
Like he's not saying I don't want you because this is bad in general. It's just not
Mm.
for him.
It's just not for me.
no, but why are you saying? Okay, take for instance, I've heard guys specifically in me who will say, we don't want Zimbabwean girls because no nets, like you guys are
But-
so difficult, which is not true because have you dated all of us? Have you spoken to all
But
of us?
here's
No,
the
you
thing.
haven't.
Here's the thing. If you go, I don't know if I should say Zimbabwe, but okay, fine. Speaking from like personal experiences, right?
Yeah.
Most Zimbabwean girls I've dated. Manonetsa, Joshua, we're trouble for sure. Like we're very demanding. We
Mm.
ask a lot from guys. Like it is what it is.
But it's
And
a
it's not-
cultural thing because
Exactly.
culturally, a man could not even look at you unless he had his cows in order, unless he had land.
That's
unless
the
he had all
thing.
that.
So it's a
So
culture
it's
thing. How
something
does it
that we have
become-
grown up with. But I think, okay, if that's not your cup of tea, then don't date us.
So
And
how does it
I'm not
become-
saying like you are okay. If you say you want a white girl, nobody's saying don't date white people. Date them. The issue is when you internalize racism, right? And you say, okay, I want a white girl because she has nicer hair, she has looser hair texture, or her light skin is nicer, so she looks better in pictures and whatnot. What you're saying to your own people is, okay, I don't like you because white people told me that dark skin is ugly. I don't like you because white people told me that black people's hair is ugly.
I
What
don't think
you're
it
insulting
translates-
yourself, you're insulting the women of your culture, and literally embarrassing
But
black
I
people
don't think
simply
it
because you don't like them.
translates to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I can tell you my favorite color is yellow, but
Mm.
I'm not saying pink is ugly. Do you get what I mean?
That's okay.
Yeah.
But what happens is people will say, I don't like yellow because pink is ugly. That's what I'm trying to get you to understand is sometimes you will compare two things when you're not supposed to do that.
So Rumbi,
Say you
okay
like
with-
orange and
you're
end
okay
there.
with Daryl saying I prefer white women.
Yeah. If you
Oh, but
prefer white
if he-
women, go.
But if,
you want to
prefers
go,
white women based on
Because-
their hair is nicer, then it's a problem.
then it's a problem because what you're
What if it's
saying,
nicer for him though?
because you're insulting your own mother by saying, listen, mama,
no,
you
no,
had
no,
your
no,
own.
You can't
yes.
find
No, but
his
no,
nice
it's not an
hair, nice
insult. But it's
Yeah.
not an
color
insult.
compatible.
It's not an insult. There's features on my mother I can tell you I don't like. But I'm not insulting her. I don't like
But
him.
then that's insecurity. That's
Okay,
that's
let's say
on
he marries
who?
a
that's
white
insecurity
woman.
on your part, and
That I don't like
think
something about
sometimes when we
someone.
look for partners, right, and I think sometimes we're not understanding it. We look at preferences, right, especially for Black people. I think most of our preferences come from what we have learned on television or what we've been taught. You look at all the movies; they had light skinned chicks, in the best looking way possible. They were the superheroes. They were the rich ladies, and the dark skinned girls. They were the maids. They were the ones, in the fields. So we've never been portrayed in a good light. So it forces some of us to then look at dark skinned women and go, you know what? I want a light skinned girl because she looks better in a rich setting. She looks better in this kind of environment because that's what you've seen. Unless you've actually seen that dark skinned girls are just as beautiful and just as wonderful, you would not say that I prefer light skinned girls because they're 1, 2, 3 better than dark skinned girls. You can't compare the two because they're not the same thing.
But what if you haven't seen it?
If you haven't seen it, and that's why I think media is so important, why so many shows are now popping up with dark skinned girls, because you need to see it for you to believe it.
Okay, let's not like centralize on like dark skin girls.
Yeah.
Just like in general,
Yeah.
right? I have never pictured myself with an Indian guy. Nothing against them.
And
I've
that's
never,
okay.
like in life,
Mm.
I've also never
Mm.
encountered an Indian guy to be in the same space close enough to be like, maybe we could work, daddy. Like it's never happened.
It's never
right?
happened because you've never opened your options.
No,
Here's
no,
the thing,
no. It's not that I haven't opened my options. It's
Yeah.
like you just said just now. We grew up in a culture where it's thrown at us. It's all that we've seen. We've just seen Black people being made to look bad. That's all we've seen. We haven't really been exposed to what good we bring, right? Which is the same thing I'm trying to bring to my example. I have never been close enough to an Indian guy to see whether he's good or bad, because all I have known and the good that I've seen is in the other people.
And that's
So
the weakness
does that
of
make-
Black girls.
Does that make me toxic? Is that toxic?
It doesn't make you
preference?
toxic, but I
You know
want you to
what?
see some. Yeah, sure, go.
So like with preference, that's like something I like, like something that like attracts me towards whatever that is.
Yeah.
Like phones, for example, Samsung and Apple. I prefer Apple. Why? Because like it connects to my MacBook, my iPad, everything is synced. The whole thing. But a Samsung phone and like a Windows laptop, an Apple phone and a Windows laptop, like nothing would match.
Yeah.
But you see what you just did? You talked about Apple specifically as Apple. You didn't then go and say, well, I like Apple because Samsung sucks. Or Samsung is got a bad screen, or they've got bad camera quality. You didn't do that. What you said was, I like Apple because they can connect to 1, 2, 3. And
Exactly.
you spoke about Apple
But
specifically.
what if it is true that Samsung is the best
Yeah.
screen?
What if?
Can't you
And how
say-
do you know?
No,
The new ones that have
You
come
can
out
see it in
about.
the shop,
Let's
it's
say-
there, and
yeah.
iPhone is there, and you can see like,
Like,
I prefer
S7's
iPhone.
like blowing up.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
it's
Like you
a
can
reason for
see.
concern.
Like
Yeah,
your
yeah,
friend
yeah,
tells
fact.
you, my Samsung battery blew up when I was asleep. Are you gonna buy it?
No.
Obviously, you're not gonna want.
I have the following question for you guys. Do you think exposure has played a big part in making preferences toxic? Because we've seen light-skinned women in Apple ads or featured the most.
So, like, to answer your question, it depends. Because, like, if you're gullible, maybe like what you see is what you'll think is cool and stuff like that. No offense to everyone, but like, I don't think so. Personally speaking, because like your attractions are like chemical. You know, you
Facts.
can't alter that, and like what drives you is like what drives you.
Yeah.
So like for example, let's say I own a restaurant, right? I'm
You s-
white,
Oh, okay.
right? Okay, and genuinely like I don't like Black people. Like let's say the majority do steal, like statistically speaking, or like they rowdy and loud. Not saying that they are, by the way. Okay, so I would prefer not to have any at my restaurant, so that those who do come can peacefully eat.
But why do we do that to each other though? Why do we do that? Because take for example the illustration that Sakani gave about her and the Indian guy. The sad part is if you put an Indian guy and a Black guy in the same room, the Indian guy is more loyal to his race than the Black guy. The Black guy will get so excited that a white girl showed him attention. Whereas like with other races, you never hear these issues. They never go on the internet and say, I don't like black women,
But
I
you
don't
know
like
what?
white women. And this. You never hear Latinos never do that. Asians prefer their own people. It's because they've been taught that. But black people, even with
Wait,
Nelson
can I cut
Mandela
you
saying
off
you
that?
must love your own people, we still
So,
don't like
like,
each other.
How you say it? How like they were taught that? So isn't that racism? Or
It's
is that
it's
preference?
and that's why they call it colorism, because it's a racism within a specific race, right? So you have black people who say, I prefer to hang out with a Nigerian, or no, actually you have people say, I prefer to hang out with a Zimbabwean because Nigerians are these, or you have someone say, I prefer light-skinned people because they're more trustworthy, they're closer to white people, and I can maybe wiggle my way into the white community because they're easier to talk to. They have more connections. Or you haven't spoken to the dark skinned people. You cut them off because you judge them because of their skin tone. And that's where colorism comes in. Yeah.
I don't fully agree.
Mm.
I think okay, maybe like, let's say I've just never spoken to black people in general,
Mm.
but I have read
Mm.
about them.
Mm.
That's what I know. That's what I've grown to know.
Mm.
So now when I come into the space of like you black people,
Mm.
already what I've read and what I know about them is what I'm going to associate
Mm.
to you. But then I wanted to come back to Ghost's question, whether exposure influences how we view, preferences and colorism.
Mm.
To a certain extent, I think yes,
Mm.
but at the same time, I also think no, because growing up, most of the shows I watched on TV had white people, a lot of them,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Yeah.
But I was not then inclined to think that they are way
Cooler or
cooler
better.
than
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. It's
Mm.
just not how I then grew up thinking.
Mm.
But if I was then to encounter them like outside of what is outside of things that I am not actually involved in, if
Mm.
I was then to encounter them like as me by myself, my own experience,
Mm.
and then they seemed cooler than black people, then yes, I'd be
Mm.
like, yeah,
Mm.
okay,
Mm.
I've hung out with you and I've hung out with you and I think you're better.
Mm.
Then like in that case I would. But when it comes to just exposure, just exposure being exposure and not actually being within the exposure, then I don't personally
it
I don't think
affects it.
I don't think
No.
it affects it.
I think exposure plays a huge part. I mean, why do you think people were so excited about Black Panther? If we're seeing constant black superheroes on TV, you think we'd be jumping up and down because Black Panther is.
I think so.
I personally, you wouldn't, because it's such a normal thing. You don't jump up and down when you
Okay,
see
Rumbi,
Superman
let
on
me
TV.
ask you a question.
Yeah,
What if someone thought Black Panther he didn't live up to the
and there
hype,
are black
like he
people who
was
think
trash?
that. Yeah, there are black people who think that.
Do you think that's an honest opinion, or is that like
A racist.
based on racism?
I think the biggest mistake we can make as black people is thinking that we all have to have the same mindset. If you didn't like Black Panther, it's okay. That's your opinion.
So why are you okay with someone not liking one thing, but you're against someone not liking another?
No, it's not that I'm against anybody liking anything. If you want to date an Indian chick, a Malaysian chick, go ahead. The problem then comes in when you start saying things like, I date Malaysian chicks because they're more willing to cook for me, they're more willing to submit, they're more.
So in a situation where like some people would go for personality, character, yada yada yada, and not really color, right, or race. But in a situation where you associate a certain race and not based on opinion, based on things that could be facts. Okay, so for example, I could say, don't mean this. For example, I could say I would not find myself with a white man because they have proven to be racist in the sense that they've killed so many black men in
But
America.
why are you limiting your options? And this is the one thing I don't understand, specifically about black girls. Why do we do that? You see these black guys dating Malaysian. Do you think he said, I won't date a Malaysian because
No. I don't think that like he
She's
stopped
saying the
himself.
white
I'm
people
saying
did
Yeah,
something bad to
yeah.
yeah,
white
I'm saying
people,
white
he
people.
does-
So
he
based
doesn't
on
like-
character
Yeah.
and personality, right?
Mm.
What I know
Mm.
white people to be, the
Mm.
character I know them to have, is that they
Yes.
kill black people.
And what
That's-
I'm saying is, why are you limiting yourself to your history? When you see that people of your own race are not even doing that. You have guys who are literally getting married on plantations and where their people were enslaved and saying, oh, this is my woman, this
yes,
is my
no,
wife.
what I'm saying is I'm going for black guys.
Mm.
So my thing is I'm going for black guys on the basis that white guys are murderers to black guys. That's what
Are
I'm
they
saying.
all murderers?
No. Sorry.
No, but I get what you're saying. I really do.
So
I
I'm
really
saying,
do.
right,
Mm.
on the thing of, because we're going for character,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Screw skin, screw color, screw
Mm.
race,
History,
right?
yeah.
We're going on character.
Mm.
The characters I know white men to have is that they kill black people.
Mm.
That's the personality I know
Mm.
them to have.
And
right?
that's our
So
downfall.
I'm going to go for a black man
Mm.
because I am associating a white man with being murderous because that's the character I know. So I'm not basing my choice for a black man over a white man over that the man is black.
Mm.
I'm
Mm.
basing it from this man happens to be black, but also he's not a murderer. So does that then make me racist? Does
that makes you racist because you're attaching history, a
It's
horrible
not
history to
it's
current.
happening.
I mean, okay. let me just say this.
No, it's
okay.
happening.
No,
though.
let me just say this.
No.
I personally, right? Personally, I don't think speaking. Let me just speak on white people in Africa because that's what I know.
Okay.
Whereas white people in America, different story, different debate,
Okay.
right? There's no living white people who has lynched a black person, or at least who has. Maybe they might say derogatory terms, or they might say like a rude word or something, you know, a cuss word, like using the K word or whatever from history. But there is no living descendant of a white person who has ever lynched or whatever. And I think, my problem is I think we're attaching too much of race to history. We should not do that because even within black people, there were other black people who enslaved other black people. So now are you gonna say, well, I'm not gonna date a South African because they they enslaved Zimbabweans or whatnot.
Guys,
they what. I think we can't do that. I understand your point where it's like
it's not
kinda-
history.
It's a
What
guilt
I'm
issue.
saying, it's not
a guilt
history.
issue.
We're
Yeah.
literally living in a world of hate and race crimes.
But
It's
not
happening
living.
now. It's not. Yes, it happened, but it is happening. It's not happening in the magnitude that it happened before.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's still happening
Yeah.
now. You know, like if I read about it 6 months ago, yes, it's happened. That is the past. But I can't regard 6 months ago as history. Like that's not gonna happen. That's recent. Like it's happening. So the fact that that's what I know, the fact that 6 months ago a white guy killed a black guy, or maybe vice versa, I'm going to go for the one that didn't do the killing.
But currently, black guys are killing other black guys, so it's the same crime.
On your point, literally. So like, how we're black, right? I can call you my nigga. You're my nigga. What's up, my nigga? Alright, cool. But like, why can't a white man?
No, okay, it's not about that actually. I think.
'Cause then
Okay,
that
let,
goes
let
on
me
to,
speak
no,
in the
'cause then-
context of how black men behave and how black women behave. And there's a reason why I'm saying if you were to put a white man, an Indian man, and a black man in the same room, the Indian and the white man would be race loyal. They would say, "No, I want a white woman because that's my culture. I support
So
my
is
women.
that
They're
racism
beautiful."
or is that preference?
They prefer their own women because they don't believe in embarrassing each other. You know how sometimes
So it's not
black
racism.
So
people.
it's not racism.
No, it's
is
not.
Serena
Okay, if you don't
Williams-
like black people,
So
it's
then-
okay.
Yeah,
Did
so-
Serena
But if you
Williams
like them, it's
embarrass
fine.
So if
Did
that's not
Serena
race-
Williams embarrass the race when she married?
No,
a
I
white
think
guy?
we're confusing a lot of things here. When we talk about preference, right? It's okay to look for a preference in terms of characteristics. So if you like someone because someone plays good hockey, that's fine.
But isn't
But when
isn't color a
Preference becomes
characteristic?
but preference becomes
it
a
is.
horrible thing when you are now comparing one thing from another and
No.
saying
So
I like oranges because apples are one,
Yeah.
2, 3, and they make me sick. But just
but
leave
they
the
do,
apples
though.
out of
They
it.
make you
Yeah.
sick.
Yeah.
If
'Cause
you
like
eat
on-
an
on-
apple,
on-
you get allergies and shit. So
Yeah.
you prefer oranges. yeah.
Exactly. So like on what you're saying.
Okay,
what
maybe
you-
I might
wait,
have
wait,
used the
wait,
wrong
listen,
example, but
listen.
yeah.
So like what Dumi just said. So like, yeah, they make me sick, right? If I prefer a light skinned woman,
There's nothing
that's
wrong with
because
that.
They're hotter than
So
Yeah,
don't
black
you're
and
more
white
attracted. He's more attracted to.
Yeah, they're hotter
No,
than
but
black
I think
and
okay,
white women.
you're not
To
understanding
him.
where I'm
To
coming
me,
from.
Yeah.
It's
right?
okay to like light-skinned women. Okay, so I think when we're talking about preferences, I think it's better if we go back to the beginning. So I feel like with things like slavery and colonialism, right? There's a lot of things that happened during that time that made black people literally hate themselves. I think for a very long time, Black women wouldn't even wear afros because it was just seen as unprofessional. The only reason why people are now accepting their afro and saying kinky is nice is because there's movements. There's the Afro girl, there's the Black Girls Matter, there's all these things. Why? Because Black girls are starting to appreciate themselves. So when you have a Black man come on the internet and say, I like a white woman because she has better hair than Black people. What you are now saying is, I don't like a Black woman because she has ugly hair.
Nobody
And
hasn't said
it
that.
highlights on the internal racism that you were taught by your colonizers. And that is the issue. Is that sometimes as Black people, we are so caught up in trying to insult each other. We don't know how to appreciate each other. It's okay if you say, I like straight hair. End it there. Why do you have to compare straight hair to kinky hair? Why do you have to do that? Why is there that comparison? Because the only people who brought up the comparison were white people. And now you're continuing that cycle. You're not breaking the cycle. So it's not that there's anything wrong with you saying I prefer straight hair over kinky hair or whatever. But when you say it out loud, it either makes it look like you don't like yourself, you don't like your own kinky hair. And I think personally, a white girl who would date a white girl, Indian, Malaysian, whatever, if you are dating a Black guy who says I don't like kinky hair, I don't like this about Black women, they are literally insulting themselves. They're insulting their mothers, their sisters, and their aunties. Why do you have to do that? Date your white women. Wakanyarara. Go that side without insulting anybody. You don't have to involve us. You don't have to bring us down. We don't have to every single time. Take for instance, right? Serena Williams dated Black guys. None of them brought up marriage. They all insulted her. They called her masculine. She was manly. She's got muscles. Now she's got a white guy. Oh, it's a problem.
She does have
oh,
muscles.
She does, but then the problem
And they don't like, they just
she
don't like
does have muscles. Okay,
It's not
she
like they're
does
not
have
gonna
muscles,
go.
but the problem is Black people masculinized her. They took away her femininity and said that she wasn't feminine enough because she looked like a man. I mean, you guys saw what happened in Australia when they made that illustration and they exaggerated her boobs and her butt and they made her look so unattractive because Black women were so accustomed and we're so used to seeing ourselves in such derogatory pictures and people are always saying, I'll leave your ass for a white girl. That's racism in itself. Why is it that Black people, we have to insult ourselves instead of uplifting each other? You can date your Indian, you can date your Malaysian, you can date your white. Nobody's saying it's wrong. When it becomes wrong is when you now involve Black women and say they have attitude, they have this. You haven't dated women from all over the globe. You haven't dated all Zimbabwean chicks. So why are you saying
Okay.
do you know us? No, you don't.
Okay. So so that we don't bring the topic to like one race.
Yeah.
Like it being preferences and racism.
Yeah.
We're not Black. All of us here.
Yeah.
We're not Black.
Mm.
We are white.
Mm.
Okay. And I'm a white person who's liking
A Black woman.
White
No, not
women.
Black. Black people are out of the picture.
All right.
I'm a white I'm
Yeah.
a white woman.
Yeah.
And I'm into Chinese men.
Yeah.
Right? I am not going to go. I'm not saying okay, maybe I feel that Chinese men are just
there's
more
no reason to. Just, you like Chinese.
No, but like the whole
No,
thing
like-
here is that
like
it becomes
we wanna
racism.
see
No,
if
her thing is the whole thing, it becomes like it's racism when you compare. And I get it. Like I think it's racism. I don't think it's racism when you compare per se, because comparison is going to be there
That's
because
the
there's a
difference.
difference.
Mm.
Comparison is going to be there because of the difference.
Mm.
But I think if in the comparison you bring one down, if I say, wait, I'm going back to Black people, maybe not,
Yeah.
but I'm white, right? I'm going to say I'm into Chinese men because
You're smarter.
I wanted to say that, and then I wanted to say eyes, and then I was just like, that's so stereotypical.
Mm.
I like their noses. Okay.
Mm.
I'm into Chinese men because I like their noses. I have not said that white men's noses are unattractive or they're ugly. I just think that Chinese noses are better. Does that make me racist?
No, because you know what? Like, racism is actually a touchy topic, but personally, I don't believe it's there because I have a preference.
Yeah,
feel?
it just happens to be a
And my
race.
preference just happens to be either the color of your skin or the shoes you wear or the car you drive. Like, I have no issue with people being poor or rich,
Yeah.
but like I'm trying to be rich.
Yeah.
So preferably I would hang around with rich people.
Yes.
You feel?
Not that you have anything
Not that I have
against
anything
poor
against
people.
poor people, no. I would prefer to date a white woman. Not that I have anything against Black women. Not that I have anything against Chinese or Asian.
Yeah.
I just
And
prefer
that is
white
okay.
people. That's
That is
okay.
fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the reason, so like the reason to it, I don't understand how there's an issue when I put the reason.
Because there will be
Because
a reason.
I think black people are rowdy, and not that they are. I think, and 9 times out of 10, maybe
are.
they are.
Why,
Or the music they
why
listen.
do you
No,
think
listen,
black people are
listen.
rowdy?
Because
Or
9
the
times out of
or
10,
the music they
rowdy.
listen to is rude. All the music they listen to is rude. White people, if I went to a party, it's
Been to a pair. Oh.
vibes, right? If it's a black, it's like, yo, my drugs, this, that, killing. Like, you're
But we
going to an 8
encourage
to 9
that.
job.
We
you
really
feel,
do.
right? We really do, right? And it's not bad. I
Yeah.
love it. Like, when I go places,
You love drugs
personally-
and murder?
Yeah. I love it. Like,
Yeah.
this thing when I used to go to gym, right? I play the blackest song so they know black niggas pulling up. Like, shit. And they can't hate because they see the car and they're like, shit, I actually can't even hate on this guy, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, because I'm black, I'm showing you, yeah, man, I'm in your space.
Mm.
Right?
No, I agree
But
with
like,
you.
my
Yeah.
preference, not to say, because like light skin is black, it's just a lighter black, right? So it's not racism.
It's colorism, like
It's
she was saying.
colorism.
Well, is it really colorism or is it preference?
Okay, I'll
That's
give
the
you.
thing.
I'll
That's
give
the
you
thing.
an example, right?
Yeah.
Take for instance me. I've always grown up being a dark skinned girl, and I remember
You
in school,
lie.
I'm only lighter now because you know the product in Malaysia. But you would not believe how dark I was in school, and I think sometimes it's hard for people to imagine colorism or even think just how much it might affect somebody because you've never been through it. But take for instance me, I've been through all the classes, the rich, poor, middle class, all that. And I also went to some of the best schools. I also went to some of the most public schools. So I got to experience how people see each other in those schools. And I remember particularly when I went to a particular school, and I was bullied because I was dark skinned. You had guys who would literally come to you and say, I mean, I like light skinned girls because they're prettier. That's not true because they are pretty dark skinned girls. But there was a certain wave in Zimbabwe where the boys in general and in high school they were just like, I like light skin girls, light skin. And honestly, if you listen to all the music, it was about light skin girls. If you watch the videos, light skin girls. Some of them weren't even light skin, some of them were just white or Latina, right? You know, everything around you was just white, was just light. Brighter is nicer, is all that. So you have people who are then portraying that and I think sometimes we don't acknowledge how much television and music influences us, specifically as Black people, because we are so attached musically to a lot of things. So it's unfortunate because if you've never experienced it, you would never believe it.
Okay,
but these things happen.
It
still happens.
I have
today.
2 points. One is a question. First point is, wait, actually both are questions. Do you maybe think that it was just coincidental that all of these people that were promoting light skin and
It's not
white
coincidental.
people? No, okay, fine. Okay, so my thing is it coincidental that they all found that as beauty, or it is possible that a black man or whoever was promoting light skin and white people did acknowledge that darker people are attractive and that da, and they just chose not to go for those dark people and decided to just go for the light people.
I think black
Or
people
it's
just picked up the battle of liking just picked up the issue of liking light skinned women because that's all we were fed.
But I don't think it's my thing is it's
I
not a
actually don't think
choice.
that's true because when I was growing up, all the guys wanted dark skinned women. So maybe like in the sense that you were saying that like people haven't been like exposed or experienced a lot. What if that was just your circle that you're in? But that's
what I was going.
So that's
for.
what I'm saying is like, what if that's their preference? Like, what is the definition of preference?
But it can't
like
be just
my
be
preference,
my circle though, because you guys just agreed with me that in most of the movies you watch, they advertise light-skinned girls.
Why they were lighter people is because they were in America. We're in Africa.
Yeah, but also in the movies, I think what I was trying to get at is that it's just coincidental that those people that have the power and influence to show light-skinned girls and whatever color girls that aren't black girls just happen to like the same thing. It's not that they did that and brought down dark-skinned girls. No. They just didn't give dark-skinned girls a platform, not because they have anything against them, just because they prefer this thing. But question. I don't know if you guys saw, but I saw on Instagram just now. Nigeria just
Banned.
stomped,
Banned
white women
media.
from
And why do you think they
Is that
did
racist?
that?
No,
That's
is
for
it
a
racist?
reason.
Is it racist?
They
That's
what?
not racist.
They banned-
Wait,
It's
what
not
happened?
racist at all.
So
I mean, you go to white
Nigeria,
countries, they don't
Wait.
even show black people.
What happened?
Nigeria just banned white models in their media
Yeah.
advertisements and all of that. So everything, marketing wise in Nigeria now is going to be
Black people.
black people.
And
And
that's
I
okay.
think that, do you see? So the fact that
You
you
say
think
it's
that's
o- you
okay,
say
isn't
it's
that
okay.
hypocritical?
Okay, let me try and explain this in a way that you guys would understand. All right, take a country like Nigeria where it's a majority of the women there are black people, right? We all know that Nigeria had an issue with bleaching and all these black and white skin stuff. These issues don't pop up from nowhere. I think sometimes when we talk about these things, we're not accounting for the fact that history may have a part in the reason why so many black people prefer light skinned women. You may not agree with it, you may not have seen it, and that's okay, that's your experience. But it does happen. We see it all the time in movies, we see it all the time in music videos. It's all around us. And even here in Malaysia, Philippines, dark skinned Philippines will say, listen, I have experienced racism from my own people because I was darker. That's not coming from nowhere. These things exist because of history. So when you come up and you say, well, maybe they didn't include dark skinned girls just because they had nothing against them, but they just. How can you exclude all dark skinned black girls? That doesn't just happen.
So in the
There's
case
a
of
reason
Nigeria,
why,
is that
the reason
racist?
why diversity now exists. You go on Instagram, there's dark skinned girls pages and all that. It's there for a reason because black girls have never been told to love themselves. Now we're at the point where we are loving ourselves, we are existing in spaces, and now people want to now say, okay, colorism didn't exist because now people are accepting dark skinned girls. You may not have seen it, and maybe boys of your generation might like
She
dark
just
skinned
called
girls
you a
now.
kid.
No, not like that. But then
I'm not okay.
yeah. But what I'm saying is maybe your generation might now like light skin girls because it's been made cool now. But before, when being dark was not cool, nobody liked it.
So in the case of Nigeria, is it racist?
It's not racist because the country is majority black. Take for instance, if you go to France, sometimes they won't even show black people, or they'll show the whitest black person they can find because they believe it's still better.
So
If it
let's
happened
say-
in
I
England,
think
say-
it's so unfair to scrutinize black people for wanting something for themselves when
Let's say-
for so
let's
many
say-
years white people did things for themselves and nobody complained, and all of a
Let's
sudden black
say-
people are doing the same thing and it's racist. Come
let's
on, guys.
say Oxford University bans all black people from attending.
That's racism. Come on.
But it's majority white though.
It's a UK university.
It's a majority white
it
country.
UK?
Yeah, it's a UK
American?
video.
Why
Yeah,
okay?
UK.
Why are we comparing blatant racism like that and then saying, well, Nigeria banned all white people? Do you know that in Nigeria they didn't even put black women on the board because they believed that white was better? They only banned it
No.
now because Nigeria has a high issue of bleaching and all that, and to encourage their women to love themselves. They
Okay,
said, you
so
know what, we're gonna praise more of our
UK
women.
is encouraging education
Of
within.
their community
people.
because most international people are coming in.
Yeah.
I think that's racism, but that's outside of
What's
of
the
dating.
difference?
What do you mean? What's the difference?
Your reasons were like majority are
Of
black.
the Nigerians.
This one
are black.
majority are white.
Majority of the people white. but
White
it's most
people are being
international
banned. This
students
one black
coming
people
in.
are being banned. It
They're
seems
trying
to
to
me
invite
like
more
the
of
same
their-
Would you not
parameters, but
be more
different.
inclined to buy a product if it was marketed to you?
As
specifically?
a white young scholar in the UK, would you not be more inclined if the school accepts white people?
Personally, I think with the whole Nigeria thing, that has more to do with Pan-Africanism than it does have to do with the actual racism and stuff. I think
That makes sense.
Pan-Africanism, that's a whole different thing where black people want to make Africa specifically for black people. That's why when you look at South Africa, they have so many issues because they haven't really found a way to appreciate their own black people,
Okay.
and they put white people over black
So
people.
most history,
Yeah.
right? History is what has something to play in Nigeria.
Yeah.
Let's put history aside. Okay,
Uh.
there's no history in Nigeria. There's no history in the
But how
UK.
can we disassociate those two things? I think they play a part.
No,
When you
but I
now say
want
there's no history, then-
I want to bring UK and Nigeria on the same thing
Mm.
because you're saying the example that Dumi gave is different from Nigeria because of Pan-Africanism, which has got a part to play with history. So that already puts them on two different levels. So I want to bring them on the same level. There's no history involved in any of the things. Nigerians don't want white people in their advertisements. The Oxford University does not want black people in their school. Which one is one racist and the other is not, or both are racist, or they're both not racist?
To be honest, I don't think the Nigerian one is racist, because they're not necessarily saying that the banning of white people from the boards. I can't explain that. I really don't know how to explain that. But with Oxford, I think it's just genuine racism.
Can white people encourage each other?
White people always encourage each other. It's black people who don't.
Is it a problem?
Are they allowed?
Oh my
to?
God. Guys, I'm not saying that it's wrong to encourage other people. Listen to me when I say, if you put an Indian, a white, and an Asian, and a black person in the room, a white person will encourage their women. An Indian will encourage their women. And Malaysian will encourage their women.
That's what we're
saying. A black person would never do that.
So like, we're not talking about women. We're like, okay, so like, let's say there's a business, right? There's an Asian restaurant. Shout out to my Asian food people. There's Chinese, delicious.
Yeah.
Right? African, the meat, like, oh man, man. Then there's like white cuisines, like I don't know, we'll say what, Italian, French.
Yeah.
The list goes on. Right? If each restaurant does not welcome any race that's not their race, because they want their own people around them, is that racism or preference? What would you think?
I think it's preference. Yeah.
Do you mean?
I think it's
Preference. And you?
If they don't want people in their restaurant, they only want Chinese people, is that racism? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's not okay. I think that it's more about culture, not preference. It's
so is it
more
racism
about culture.
or preference?
No, but culture plays a part in preference.
It's like saying, if Muslims go to a mosque to pray and they say you can only come in here to pray to Allah. Christians now go to the mosque and they say we wanna enter. What? We wanna praise our God in your mosque. I don't think it's not okay, because you're disrespecting their religion. You're disrespecting what they believe in. When you're talking about restaurants and saying, okay, there's an African restaurant, there's an Indian restaurant. If they only want Indians, that's their one. It's
so is it preference
that's
or racism?
Some people would say it's racism because it's like, why aren't you allowing me inside? I also want to eat Indian food, so why aren't you allowing me inside?
So like when they
that's
say
racism.
that,
yeah.
Is it racism?
Preference is saying, okay, I like Indian food because it's spicy, it's nice, it's my juice.
But
that's preference.
Doesn't mean your African food is
But
spicy.
toxic preference is saying, I prefer Indian food because, Chinese food sometimes is a bit greasy. Chinese food is disgusting. They spit in
No,
their
I'm not
food.
saying it is. What I'm
Chinese
saying,
food is
it'll be facts.
What?
What if it's true?
Why are you insulting another race?
No, it's not an insult. It's not an insult.
I think that's
It's
what I'm
not
trying
an
to get you guys to
insult.
understand, that when you compare certain things and you say, I prefer Indian food because it's spicy and I don't like Chinese food because they spit in their food, you are attaching stereotype and you're insulting a whole group of people without having even known them. Maybe they're the cleanest restaurant. Maybe
I don't think it's. I think
you don't know.
I think when it comes to things that are not standardized, right? Like the
Yeah.
first example that you gave, that I like Indian food because it's spicy. I don't like Chinese food because it's greasy. I don't think that's wrong.
Yeah.
Because it could be fact. It's not an insult. The fact that it's greasy does not make it an insult. I think while then we then also take it as an insult, plays a part on a personal level of insecurities. Yeah. If you find that your food being greasy is bad, then that's an insecure thing on you. That's a you thing.
Like literally on your part, like I prefer black women because they're bigger and thicker compared to white women.
And that's fine.
No, but then now if I like straight hair and I don't like kinky hair, how's that any different?
So if you can't find a black woman with a straight hair, then you wouldn't date black women then?
No.
Okay, but
that's essentially what you're saying. If
Exactly.
you say I like black women because they're bigger
thicker
butts and I don't like straight hair.
Yeah, you agreed on the other, but you...
It's okay for black girls to be thick and liking the thickness, but
no, I think what we're doing is we're going kind of off track and we're trying to put in all these examples. But what I'm trying to get you to understand is sometimes when we talk about preference, we're actually insulting ourselves and we're insulting our people instead of actually like just saying I like white people
Can
and
I please
ending
say
it
something
there.
on that before you say something? And I don't mean to offend you or any other person, but I think if you take it as an insult, or if somebody takes it as an insult and it didn't come off as an insult, like I like straight hair because I don't like kinky hair, and that becomes an insult. I think that has a thing, like if he tells me I have kinky hair, although it's, yeah, if he tells me, oh, I like you today because you haven't shown your afro, I like you better with the Peruvian hair you have on your head, right? I am not going to take it as he's saying my afro is bad, because he didn't say your afro is bad. He's just saying I like this hair over your afro.
But the
But if
question
I
is,
say, if I
yeah.
then say you insulted me, you called my afro bad, I think that's on me. That's an insecurity on me, because he didn't say that. I can tell
Yeah.
him I don't like your beard, but I'm not saying that without his beard he's ugly. Wait, I don't like your beard. I'm not saying with his beard he's ugly. It's
just saying you will like somebody with the beard, fine. If you don't like somebody with the beard, without a
okay. Let's go
beard,
to kinky
it's
hair.
fine.
If you wear your straight hair, it's not like you woke up in the morning and you said, "Ah, my kinky hair is ugly." It's
No, I
just
didn't,
what
yeah.
you want on
Yeah.
that day. It's just what
Yeah.
you're preferring
Yeah.
on that day.
Yeah.
In the same way, kinky is straight. I like kinky. I don't like straight. If I like kinky, that doesn't mean I'm saying I don't like straight, or I'm saying no. That doesn't. I mean, it does mean I don't like straight, but it doesn't mean that I'm saying straight is ugly or straight is bad. It's just saying in life, I would rather have kinky and not straight. So if someone with straight hair is to then say, "Oh, she likes kinky hair, so she hates my hair. She thinks my hair is ugly," I think that's an insecurity on that. It's got. I don't think it then bridges the thing of it being racist.
I think it's so sad that we even considered an insecurity, considering how a lot of us black women couldn't even like wear afro hair to like work. But I don't see it as an insecurity thing. I see it as
wait, I'll stop you on that point. I would say that was more of the like regulations, like more limited. I wouldn't say that was.
Yeah.
But
Also,
now that we can,
and why can we? Let's go.
Because we fought for it.
Why exactly?
Exactly.
So I think at the
So-
time that we couldn't wear it to
yeah, but
work, we
how
didn't
long
fight.
did it take us to fight for it? Because for a while, I believe that so many of us just kept quiet and we said, you know what?
That's the
maybe it's not as
thing.
bad."
That's America.
That's not even America. I mean, even today, you still have people who say, "I prefer straight hair because it's better than kinky." I think when you compare the two, you're kind of
because listen, my reasons would be I'm not paying $200 every 2 weeks to get her regraded. I'm just buying her shampoo and conditioner.
Oh, that's so mean. I'm joking, but I get you. It makes sense. Yeah, no, I get you. I get you.
We gotta get into
and I
the
know all the
economics.
different kinds, by the way.
Yeah, like
not
today
this-
she wants knotless,
it's not
tomorrow she
knotless,
wants a wig,
yeah.
tomorrow she wants cornrows.
By the way,
I get
got
you.
it like that. I know how to braid. Right? But like, yeah. So like, what separates preferences to like racism? So I feel like on your point, you keep coming back to like the same point. Yeah. Yeah. Do you have
no.
anything to
I
say?
think we're trying to put too many things when it comes to. I think preferences are okay. I'm not saying that they're not okay. They're okay. Like have your
So,
preference.
Like, okay, so if
When
preferences
you-
do exist, do you think there's such a thing as racism? Because like that's my preference.
I never thought about it, honestly. I really believed that there was racism, but when I then think, I think racism is racism if there is mistreatment. I think that's where. So
Yeah,
if
but that's-
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
But what I'm trying to get you to understand is black women have been mistreated. I mean, how many times do we listen to songs where they're like, "Oh, black girls have attitude and they're all this and all that." I think it's kind of unfair towards us, and we just kind of take it and we're like, "Oh, whatever." But these are serious issues because it affects how we're seen by people. To the point where sometimes you can even go into a company and they'll be like, "Oh, well, a black woman
But
has
you know what?
attitude."
Wait,
Where is that
can I
coming
come back
from?
to your point, actually. So like, the other day I went on a bus.
what bus? The town
School
bus.
bus.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, the
Yeah.
school.
okay.
So there was
What happened on the bus?
See, so like to me, like what I'm saying is like this preference. Like you can have your preference.
I feel like
It's cool.
you're about to say something so off. You're about to say something so
there
off.
was a free seat, right? And in the back seat, we were all black guys. There was one free seat. The lady didn't sit next to us on the free seat because we were all black. And she stood, she's like, oh shit.
And
And
yeah,
then she like moved to the side, so person behind it could go. Person behind came and sat. Cool, fine. The bus driver said, sorry, no people can stand. It's the fucking bus.
ah,
But
And she
you
had to
see,
go down.
the fact I didn't take that as racism, that's her
Yeah.
Yeah, be scared of this one. If
did you
didn't
see
say-
that as
no,
preference?
Preference. I can put my bag on the free seat. I don't
Yeah.
care. You see, but
You
now,
really?
I think like because like it's a situation where let's say for example a colonized country, right?
Mhm.
The white people's great grandparents colonized the country. They didn't like the black people, or maybe they liked them, but they were just slaves, right?
Mhm.
So it's passed down saying, no, these guys are bad, or they're our workers, separate yourself from them. But now we're at a stage where we've leveled up ourselves. Kudos to our parents, right?
Yeah.
Now we can associate or be in similar circles. As
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
Right? Which is what I said before. When I roll up, you'll know that's either a black guy or white guy who wants to be black. One of the two, right? Like although not all, right? Not necessarily speaking like that, but like white people are jumping onto our swag. Oh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Our music, bro, it is deep. Like
Yeah.
it's dope, right?
Yeah.
Like cool.
Would they be racist for not listening to their
They're
own
not-
music?
Exactly.
They're
The
not
fact
racist.
that you listen
Would
to
a black person be
EDM,
racist
you
for
know
not
what?
listening to black
I
music?
used to listen to
No.
EDM, and black people said you listen to white music. Why does it have color? You're the one putting color.
I think it's white
Yeah.
music.
I
I'm
think it's
sorry.
preference.
Not that there's anything
Yeah.
wrong with it.
There's no-
I
that's
think
your
it's white
preference.
music.
That's your preference. You
Yeah.
think white people listen to that kind of music, so you say it's white music. But that's what I'm saying. So is there racism or preference? Because preference is a choice. That's my choice. I'm
That's why I
entitled to
said
my
I
choice.
think it
If
comes in
you're
this treatment.
forcing me now to say I have to accept this,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
that becomes slavery.
But it's only black people who do that to each other. You never see.
So white people aren't racist.
You never see white people who would like insult their women and say, "Well, I don't like white women because they
I
can't
know
do
a
what
few
they
who
do."
say, well, they don't have no
I think it's
Well,
just
only
maybe what
because
we're
they learned it
exposed
from
to.
us. We're the
Yeah.
ones who do that a lot of the times when we insult each other online and we say, "Oh, black men are this and black women are that." We are always fighting online.
Okay, so
and
Do you know
let's
what I
take that one
think?
out of the equation, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Yeah.
think? Sorry, just to come back to like the whole black thing. I think we only
Mm.
see black fights because black people like to fight. When white
Exactly.
people fight each other
See,
or any
because
other
black
race.
people are what? Rowdy. That's why I don't want them at my restaurant. I don't want them at my restaurant.
No, but like literally,
Yeah.
if someone is to come and disrespect me, I will tell you this. I won't take it.
Yeah.
I will not take it. If I am, let's give an example. I am in I'm in the club. Someone comes, I'm with my man. Someone comes, a black woman comes to my man and she's disrespectful. I'm fighting her. And I will, if I have to insult her for the actions that she's done, I'm going to
wanna
do
fight
it.
for a man? I think
I'm not
if
fighting for a
he's
man. I'm
giving
fighting
her
over
attention, leave.
disrespect. No, I'm
Oh,
fighting
yeah.
over. He's not giving
Yeah.
her attention.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
can see that I'm with this guy,
Mm.
but she comes and she just took. Not my man has not. She's done nothing. He's reacted in no way.
Mm.
Right? She comes and she does what she does. It's disrespectful. I feel disrespected. I'm angered. I'm fighting her back. But I think as black people, we're more expressive. That's why it comes off as if we're the bad ones in being racist towards each other. White people, Chinese, Indians, all of those people,
They do it too.
they
yeah.
do it too,
Mm.
but they're not expressive. We won't know it because they won't express. If the same thing was to happen, I'm not saying like this is, generalized, but the few like Malaysian girls that I have come across are very calm. They don't like stress. Like they don't like stress,
Mm.
If the same example I gave in the club was to happen to someone of like Malaysian descent, they're not going to react the same way that I reacted. They're going to be offended and going to be angry. They might not like this person, but they're not going to like make a scene out of it because they're calm and they won't like this person based on that. In the same way that I won't like this person based on that. But then it will look like I don't like people of my culture because I reacted. So the fights that we see, people fighting each other, it's because we react. I think anybody else everywhere. Every race fights themselves, but they don't react. Like it's just
'Cause you know
yo.
what? Like literally,
And I'm not saying there's anything
yeah.
wrong with reacting. By
Like
the way, I'm
RIP,
just
there was that guy who died. What's his name? Who was killed by the cops in America. That started
So
the whole,
many
Oh,
of
George
them.
Floyd.
Yeah.
George
know what?
By the
Floyd.
way,
When-
on the
Right.
record, I really didn't support that. But
Yeah, I
anyway,
don't support the movement
Mhm.
firstly. Not
don't
because I
think
don't
anyone
think
does.
black lives don't matter, but like, why does it only matter when it's in America? But like another, like if something happened here or there, it doesn't matter. So like, I think it was more to do with news, but like that's my own.
I agree with
That's
that. But
my
the other reason is
opinion.
like it took so much time for them to even realize that black women are also getting killed at same rate. So
Yeah, exactly. But like exactly, so like black on black crime is
Mm.
higher than what white cops kill black people in
Mm.
America. I researched that like when I heard about the situation.
Mm.
And then secondly, white people are actually killed more than black
yeah,
people.
they are.
So that whole black movement thing,
Because we react.
because we react. You see.
I thought they said it's about the population difference because there's
No,
only
but like
like,
okay.
Oh, yeah,
if
so
there's
if-
more white
population
people, then
You won't
more white
realize the
people.
Okay, so like
yeah.
let's take it out of America. In Zimbabwe, in Africa in general, we don't kill ourselves. So that's their own American one.
Yeah.
I don't, whether you're in the hood, you think you're hard, you're killing your homie, you have obstacles, that's your own one. You think you're hard, you're actually a puss. Bro. Like, if anyone can affect your judgment, you're a puss. Personally speaking.
I don't
So
think
like that
so.
whole situation,
I
like
really
where I was on the
don't.
bus,
Yeah.
that girl don't want to sit next to
mm.
me. You don't want to sit next to me.
No,
And you
no,
didn't think it was
actually,
racist?
I
that
didn't
was
think it was
racist.
racist.
No, actually, wait. I think
I
you
didn't
wait,
think that was
wait,
Can I
wait,
wait? Can I ask why you think it was racist?
I think it's you're doing yourself an injustice by saying it's not racism because in other countries it's a huge thing. You have black people in China and Japan who have complained about the same thing, and they say, listen, people they'll literally be sitting in the middle in this one seat, and the person will choose to stand because they cannot. Sit
Sorry,
next
can
to a
I
black
can I
person.
can I
That
can I
is
take
racism.
the
I
take
think-
the focus away from black people?
Yeah,
He
but
does
like,
it.
to
He
finish my
does it.
statement, right? Because you didn't take it so seriously, that's fine. That's you, and congrats, it didn't affect you.
No, not
But to some
seriously, like, I
people,
laughed.
yeah. But to some,
Yeah.
that's a very
Yeah.
serious issue because it speaks to their mindset and what they think of black people. If you can't even sit next to somebody simply because you think that they might affect you or you think that they're gonna hurt you or
know
whatever
what?
it is,
So wait,
that's
wait. I think
the
we're
mess
focusing
that's
too much on
happening.
black
Yeah.
people. I want to take the
Yeah.
focus away from black
Exactly.
people. If
Yeah.
he does the same thing,
like
it's you don't
Yeah.
sit. He's black. There's a bunch of whatever race. He
Chinese
doesn't
or what?
sit.
Yeah.
Is it still racist?
It's racist as well because if you're not sitting next to a white person because of a stereotype, then that's wrong. But if you're not sitting next to a white person because they might have insulted you or whatever, that's a different completely different issue. Yeah, I think if it's the other way around, it's okay. I mean, I'm not okay. Not okay. I think it's racism, but again, it depends on the context and what the person has done. If the black boys were insulting the Chinese girl and saying "Ooh," whistling and whatever, then I would say she's justified in not wanting to sit next to them. If she's had a bad experience with black guys, then okay, maybe she's justified.
But she
in
doesn't
sitting next
prefer-
to them.
okay.
So if that woman had a bad experience with a black person stealing her handbag when she was walking or something, so
Mm.
now sitting next to me in the bus, she's like,
You might steal my
But
handbag.
as black people, we've talked about that same example for how long? Where you have white people in the elevator and they'll literally clutch their bag because they're so scared.
I went
mean,
to
do we
do-
have to explain
like,
this and
on
be
that
like, that's
point-
racism? I
Again,
mean, you're putting that on
Yeah.
everybody who's
I
not a
don't-
beef.
I don't know why I find that so serious, right? I went to do my medicals, me and this mate. So like we'll put in groups of two, right? So we're what? 3 black people, whatever other races, right? When we were sent, right, this lady clutched her bag. Me and this lady
Yeah.
right. And then she eventually did a tissue into another room. We met in the next room. She's like,
Okay, no, but I have a question there. What if
Yeah.
it's got nothing to do with her knowing things about black people?
Yeah, she's just
But
never
sh-
seen black people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that become racist?
Like,
That's
I'm
still
not even
racism.
blaming you.
It's just unfamiliar. She's just unfamiliar to this
Why
color.
are you trying to excuse racism? That's racism, guys. I mean, if somebody doesn't want
I'm
to sit next to
unfamiliar.
you,
I'm unfamiliar with it.
Yeah.
I'm-
like if I saw
if
a
some, yeah,
snake-
sure. Okay.
Okay, so can we
if
get-
I saw a snake, right? I've never seen.
Yeah.
Whether if it's a house snake, that stuff isn't dangerous, right?
But why
Alright,
are
or
you
python.
attaching?
But then like someone else will come and be like, "No, man, this thing doesn't bite." Oh yeah, it's so cool. Like I'll
Okay.
be looking at her and saying still like, no.
I think that's a very horrible,
That's
that's a terrible example
No.
because when you're talking about black people, we've often complained about people not treating us like humans. So why would we now try and excuse things like that? I don't think it's even
No, so
okay
it's
to
like
even
white
say
people.
that.
So like, let's say if you've never seen a white person in your life, right? Now you see a white person, like,
What's that? Oh, sorry, I said what?
No,
but I get you, I
No,
get you,
you'll
I
be
get
like,
you.
What's that? Like, I went
Okay,
to
so-
school, right? There was
That's
this white person,
racism. That's still
and he's
racism.
never. I think he's the only white person at the school.
But that is still
Right?
racism because
And
where did you get the
everyone, when he
idea that a white
passes,
person is
everyone is like,
scary?
Wow.
Yeah.
And that happens here. I don't find it
Yeah,
racist.
is that
But okay,
racist?
let's
There
then
there was
differentiate.
a viral video of a black girl who went to Turkey, and literally, apparently, people in Turkey had never seen a black person, and people were all over her, like taking pictures and going, "Wow, you're so pretty," and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, because like
But in
I
other
went
countries-
to China, and this guy said, "I'll pay you some yen to touch your hair," and I was like,
And that's not okay. That's not okay. You're not supposed to. You're not a zoo animal. Why
Okay,
are they
but-
petting you?
So when the girls were when they're just taking pictures of the girl that also wasn't okay,
They were taking pictures of her, and only because she consented, she said, "Okay, yeah, sure." let's
he's
take
going to
pictures."
consent. He's going to
so
consent.
If I don't, he didn't like say, he didn't just touch my
Yeah,
hair. He
he's
asked,
going to
"Can I touch
consent.
your
All right,
hair?"
all right. If you ask, then that's okay. But I think it's
Yeah.
because other people in China, I mean, other black people in China might have educated them. Have you guys not watched videos where black people have said, "Listen, there's some Chinese people who come to you and just touch your hair out of nowhere," and it even happens, yeah, like in Malaysia. I've had that happen to me, where people would touch me without even asking, and that is wrong. You're supposed to
Yeah, that-
ask
that's wrong,
consent, right?
Like, I know,
That's when it's
What's it
racism.
called? Like at high schools, like there were people of color
Yeah.
who come to black and be like, "Is that your real hair?"
Oh, I hate that question.
Yeah.
Okay,
Annoying.
outside of black people, can we forget we're black and that even black
it's the
people
same
exist?
thing. It's the same
No,
thing.
I
It
think we've
applies.
really centralized around black people. But let's forget the existence of, and this is not me being racist. This is for the sake of like now. No, man. This is for the sake of now. We forget the existence of black people. How do we differentiate preference and racism? Black people are not involved. They don't exist. They are not in the world. How do we differentiate that?
So, if what I understood correctly, or personally, I think a preference is okay,
Uh-huh.
given that you don't mistreat, like physically, like if I say, okay, here's my restaurant, I would prefer for you not to come, but if you do sit down, we will serve you.
Okay,
But
so
if you do come and I say no, like if right,
then that's racist.
that's it.
Okay, what did you say?
I think preference is based on characteristics and maybe things that are based on your culture, religion, and how you're raised. That's a preference. But when you start bringing down your own people and saying, negative things like "I don't like kinky hair, I don't like dark skin," that's not a preference. That is
That's
toxic.
racist.
And I
you
think
know
we
what,
didn't
like, to
agree,
disagree
and that's
with you,
fine. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
what preference is for me.
That's race. No, so preference is
Racism
Character-
racism is when you now say, okay, I date Indian people because I hate Chinese eyes. That's racism.
Okay.
So that's the preference.
That's not a preference. That's racism. If you're saying you don't like someone because of Chinese eyes, same thing as saying, "Oh, I date white people because they have wider noses, and black people have." Not credit score. I mean, when you date somebody, you need to consider the credit score, of course. But then I think when we are talking about features and skin color, that is toxic preference, in my opinion.
does it become racism? That's the thing.
It can lead to racism if you go too far with it.
Jimmy, what do you say?
I think preference is when you find yourself enjoying one thing compared to another. So
Okay.
let's say I enjoy vanilla flavor compared to banana flavor.
Yeah.
I would
Those are
find
both
myself
white-ish.
preferring vanilla.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think I said it before. I think I have no problem with preference, even if it's between races with comparison, without comparison. I think it only becomes wrong or racist when one is mistreated because of their color or
Wait,
because of
like, on what you said, like mistreated before,
Like what
given
you
the
said.
opportunity.
yeah.
Actually
To
show
actually
yourself.
show that I deserve the mistreated.
Exactly.
Yeah.